Oh, right. Hi. I'm back again to hopefully start putting um, this material system to bed and get everything working. So I've got some of these thing. There's a bunch of them. I bought this whole pack of. Well, they're free actually, but I paid for the. It's freepbr.com, I think. Yeah. Freepbr.com. So I bought them. There's hundreds of PBR materials, and I'm going to be using those. I've set up a folder and I've just taken a few. I think I've got 10 to play with. So the objective here is um, to get the materials rendering bindlessly onto um, meshes. Now, already um, yesterday I was I got draw material. So this is the draw material. These are um, already kind of bindlessly looking up their world matrices. So the next step would be to get them to bindlessly be looking up their materials. And then once that works, or once I've got that working, I can start looking into more advanced rendering strategies, such as well, I could add lighting and things like that, but the my view is to go for visibility buffer, clustered lighting, and those kind of things. So this is just sort of a precursor to that. I've in the meantime I've done a few bits and bobs, just tidying some stuff up. I fixed some issues with the shader compiler yesterday, so that made this a bit better to work with. And I've added this kind of uh, stats window. So it has a GPU MS, which is actually down here as well. But this is the pipeline statistics. And once this becomes a bit more um, advanced, these stats might be useful for profiling and kind of comparing different techniques and strategies. Let's just move this down so it's nice and level there. Okay, right. So what we have is I need to have some kind of material, and I think I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup for consistency. So let's see. We had world buffers, and we're gonna have material buffers, which is I'm going to instate or reinstate the material buffer part of world buffers. So then we have world buffers. We have an instance buffer type, an instance batch. I think that makes sense. An instance. Um, this is an instance bundle. That's, I don't know. And then there's entity instance data. I think this is going to be called, I'm going to call this draw call data or draw data, maybe. So I'm going to rename that. So let's draw data, instance IDs. This is making a bit more sense now. Previously, I had quite a lot of different bits and pieces, and they were all called similar names. And there was, I say, we've not got a material, so we need to create. So what I'm going to need actually is a material type. So this is one of these. And this stuff might move around a bit once I've solidified how exactly it's going to work. But let's call it material data. Now, material data, let's go with pub. So materials, I had them before, and I might actually have another one. see, already defined in the, am I in the right works yet? Source. ECS base. I'm just seeing, I think there might be a material type in here, which I'm not sure it's in use. So we've got material instance and texture instance, texture component. They're all fine. Texture component, mesh. Okay, a material. I'm not sure if I'm using material instance anywhere. No. So I might just remove that. So let me see. Material instance. That's the only place I'm not using it. So that's fine. I can get rid of that. And then the whole material system at the moment is living in the plugins, but in future I'll bring it into the core engine once it's been properly defined. So material data is going to consist of albedo ID, which is going to be a U32. These ones as well need to be repro C, because I am potentially going to use these as buffers where we just upload them straight into a buffer of GPU memory. So we're going to have albedo, normal, roughness, and for now I think I'm just going to keep those three. I'll show you the mats. So what do we have? We've got albedo, we have AO, there's a height map, metallic, which, you know, it seems wasteful to have a whole image for that when, you know, it's metal or it's not. So the metalness parameter, let's see. Okay, metallicness. It's so, you know, you'd probably you might want, so where they're black, it just feels wasteful. They could be packed into an alpha channel as well, potentially. But for the time being, I'm just going to worry about roughness, normal, and albedo. I would like to look into doing height as well, displacement. But for the time being, I'm just going to get the basic kind of, you know, once you've got a few, it can easily be extended with more maps. So there's material data. Now I've got that. I think in terms of sanity for the GPU, I'm going to just add a padding. Now, potentially material data, it could be more complex. Interestingly, actually, in my shader tool, I have actually got the ability to output some Rust code gen, which can create structures for you. So that's something I might look into. But for now, I'm just gonna I'll define it here, and I'll define the same thing in the shader, and that's all we need for now. You know, obviously, like metallicness could be passed into here as well. So, for example, what we could do is have a branch in the shader where we check, is the material metallic, and then if it is metallic, then we sample another texture. And that means all of those black ones can just be completely deleted. I mean, what is the size of those? They're probably quite small anyway. 54K. It's still 54K. These are getting quite big. This is in another repo. So I've got to be careful about data size, and handling data is becoming a bit of a something I'm going to have to think about a bit more potentially. Okay. So we've got a few, we need to make a material buffer, and we also need to, well, we've got material data, but we're not using it yet. So we've got draw data, material data. These are data structs, they're not components, and they're things that go into the GPU. The only thing I'm not sure about here really is this instance. The bundle of it. It's not quite. Instance batch, instance buffer, and instance IDs. I think that does make sense, and then world buffers as well. So this is slowly taking shape, and I think in future this will be the kind of underpinning of a whole, rendering system, really. So we're going to call it material buff, and that's going to be device create buffer. I mean, it's basically going to be quite similar to this. Create buffer. It's going to be a shader resource. We're going to want to write on it on the CPU, and it's going to be the stride is material data, and the number of elements is actually going to be the number of materials. So there, what I want to do, so I actually want to create materials. So we create meshes, then we go let materials, and this is going to be a vec. So we've got material data, and then I need a struct. Resources. So material resources are the actual textures. So albedo, GFX platform texture, hub normal GFX platform texture. So, I mean, we could make this an array of textures. And I feel like that makes sense in a way. Material resources, textures. Because like some materials may have more or less. Just trying to think about this. Now, for now, I'm going to do it like this. I was thinking a vec of textures might be a useful thing, because you might want to have a collection of textures that aren't a material. But for now, this is going to be quite explicit, and I can always roll that together, and it can always make another component anyway. This way, otherwise, if you have an array, you then need an enum to index into them, potentially, and it starts to become a little bit more. It's more work. So here it's explicit, you know which is which, and the weird thing is actually about that though, we just need a something to keep hold of these textures. So I think that potentially materials will not be part of the entity component system. And what I might do is I'll think about that when I get a chance. But for now, let's go. Material resources. So we're going to instantiate these. And we have some code in here. I'm just going to nick it because it's calling load textures somewhere. I think it might be in the draw one. Here we go. Image load texture from file. Wrap. That's the single texture component, but texture component could become an array in future, or like I said, I don't know if it needs to be a component. Not sure what this was. This is called normal OGL. Obviously it's OpenGL, but I'm wondering what's the difference in the normal map, the coordinate system maybe. So that's something to think about, and I might have to condition these normal maps. There is, annoyingly, so this was, I downloaded these, and this is Blender, so that they have a set of textures for Unity, for Unreal, or for Blender. But yeah, well, I don't understand. They're just textures, so I don't know why they have to have those different ones. I suppose I'll find out when I start using them. But so we've got textures, PBR. These are actually, so they're PNGs. If I run a build on my data, let's see if it will build them. PM build Win32 debug texture C. So this will be so it's not building them at the moment. Check out the config. I want to build texture C. So I'm telling it files in textures and to build them into textures, but you can do wildcards in there. Are you kidding me? This should work with wildcards. Does it work just like that? It's a glob. Fail to open a file. Oh, this is annoying. I'm gonna have to check out. Now I've got tons of these config JSNs for other platforms or other projects I'm working on. And texture C. Damn. So what I've done, this, I think this does do it based on a folder. You can do wildcards, so that is the correct thing. But what I've actually done is gone and put it in the wrong. I did this yesterday. I was in the directory of the actions runner, and not in the correct place. So hotline data, source, textures, and then I'm going to copy that entire PBR dir. Right. And now if I try and build it, here we go, new file, angled tile floor, antique grey, cracked paint asphalt, dirty padded leather. Tell you what annoys me though, there's just slight inconsistencies here. One of the AOs was called AO in caps. One of them was called AO in lowercase. Height and metallic with capital H. Well, you can't complain for free. I mean, I did pay the £10 to donate because it is a good library, and I'm like, fair enough. But ruthless consistency is what you need. So I'll go through before I push these. I'm going to format those. I'll probably take off those, and in the long run, based on the convention, here's one: cracking painted asphalt, right, is underscores, and these ones have what's that one called? Is it called Lisp case? Kebab case, actually, I think. So anyway, a little bit of consistency issues there, but for the time being, it's not too much of a problem. So for now, well, actually, it is a bit of a problem because I think while I'm here, I may as well just, instead of hard coding it, I'm going to make a function which is going to be called load material from directory. And this can be a dir. I'm just using stirs for dirs. Path. I'm using the path API occasionally to do joins and various bits and pieces, but there's so much like conversion between types and unwrapping in there. It's not, I don't really like it. But always when I come to do anything path related, I'm a little bit like, oh, what should I use? So I'm just using strings. Or here it'd be a reference. If I want to store it, I'll use a string type. So that's my general ethos. So what we're going to do is we take the dir. In terms of the naming, let's see, angled tiled floor. So they're going to be the same as the name. Cracking painted asphalt. So that one's not. Antique Great One, albedo, AO. Which was the one that had the AO caps? So for consistency, angled tile floor underscore. Right, so all the underscores. I'm gonna rename this. My coordinate system actually is the same as GL. I'm using, I think is it right hand, this one? Yeah, right-handed. So my Z is, plus Z is backwards and negative Z is forward. That's just always what I have used. I actually did first use OpenGL as my very first graphics API. It was OpenGL 2, and then with a fixed function pipeline, and then I kind of did DirectX 9C when shaders came along. Or I do sort of remember a time a little bit before shaders where there was these kind of like assembly shaders that you could write, and being very sort of intimidated by them. But shaders made things easier because I did toil with .3 bump mapping and a kind of fixed function pipeline for normal mapping. It was quite weird. So texture combiners and that kind of thing. So I'm going to take off the OGLs and I'm going to make sure that everything is consistent. So antique grey albedo, AO, get rid of the OGL. So So those ones seem okay. Cracking painted asphalt. Now this is one's annoying. This one's, oh, whoever's made this one. Do you think it's a different person? How do we change the view in a list format? Interesting. My mouse doing this double click. You're kidding me. Stop doing that. It's really annoying. So yeah, this isn't too bad. It's a bit of renaming. And so they have that kebab case and then with an underscore of the type. Now that's how the others did it. So I'm going for consistency here. Which I think that makes sense, but yeah, my preference would be that it would just be all underscores, to be honest. But because they're like this, it's a bit fiddly having to condition them. I've found this before because I have in the past I have bought quite a lot of assets. You know what you always need as a coder, especially. I'm not very artistic at all. So like having good assets to use is handy. Stupid mouse click. Very annoying. A ghost mouse click. But like renaming things is fine. I had some models I bought and oh my god, like that is an absolute mess. Like, you know, firstly you've got all of the inconsistently named textures and materials, and then you have badly named like sub objects inside the actual mesh data. And I know it's like it's yeah, artists. There's an ongoing struggle in places I've worked as well to try and get people to focus on consistency, and it is important when you're going into a game engine and you're going through data build pipelines that things are called the right things, the right names. But um some people are better at it than others, and really what you want is if you get good technical artists, then that's always I've had people I've worked with who've been really good, and they kind of manage that side. But then I've also worked on teams where it's like the Wild West, and it's hard to get people to have that same level of discipline. And I think it's kind of oh my god, right? This one, that one is called AO. Yeah, it didn't change, but and that one's called base color and not albedo. So, I mean, maybe I'll do this. I'll go through the entire library. This is like I don't know how many there are. What is it? Free PBR. Let's go back. Oh, free PBR. What's he say? 450. I'll go through. I'll do all 450, and then I think I could write a script to format it. So to enforce that they are called what they expect, and I'll send them back to the person and say, if you could do a pull request for it, that would be fun. So get the credit for fixing up things for consistency. So here we go. If I rename, here we go, height. I'm quite excited potentially about doing height displacement. I think that would be fun. I mean, it wouldn't be too hard just doing a ray trace of it. But we'll see. So metallic, we're not using. So albedo, AO, height, metallic, normal, roughness. Here we go. Office cop, albedo, AO, height, metallic, normal. Office carpet, fabric, roughness, PNG. What I might do is make a script and then I'll send it to the person or the people who do free PBR and then they can just run it on their data every time for consistency. Rusting lined metal. Albedo, AO, height, metallic, normal, OGL. Roughness, PBR. So I do have some shaders already, which can do, I think I've got it's a Cook Torrance, what's it called? GDX and various bits and pieces. So that should accelerate this process. Right, okay, so simple basket weave has dash albedo instead of underscore albedo. I'm going to find out the person and tell them that they're inconsistent. It sounds like really nitpicky. I mean, it's hard enough to get people to sometimes do these sort of things when you work with them and it's their job, let alone someone who's doing it for free. Oh, I know we need to do underscore. I mean, no, yeah, I think it's always better to search. We can search for underscore, normal underscore, whatever in the file paths, and then that'll be consistent. So albedo, AO, height, metallic, normal. Stone block wall, roughness. Oh, this one, look, worn painted cement. This is all one word. I'm going to just do that. That means I'm probably going to have to do more work here. Right, yep. Albedo, AO, metalness, normal, roughness. This one doesn't have a height. Oh, that stupid mouse. I've been complaining about that for a while now, so that's pretty annoying. Worn, painted, cement. I mean, these black metalness ones, I think I might actually just delete the black metalness ones. Because they are a few K, they're going to take up space in the repository. Oh, and that's called normal with 2 R's. Very naughty. Very naughty. Let's get this. Worn painted cement. Cool. Normal.png. Right. So getting rid of that. That one did have one, so it's legit. Right. Yeah. I mean, they do look nice like that. I think that's the normal one, large icons by default. Hold on. I didn't do it. Didn't delete it. So delete that one. Delete that one. Delete that one. I happily have a branch in the shader to deal with that. Metals. I think. That one is metallic, so that's fine. There we go. So hotline data, source, textures. Let's have a look at how much. 178 meg, so that's fine. I think GitHub allows you to do a gig in a repository as fair use. You can go over it, and I'm using it. This is in a separate repository, and they're not in LFS because the bandwidth cost of LFS is excessive, and it was killing me with CI, basically, using my bandwidth. I don't really want to have to pay to maintain this, so that's kind of, it makes it difficult dealing with data. But anyway, right, PBR now has formatted data. While I'm here, oh my god, line data, that's that one. It's this one, my actions runner, so I'll get rid of that. I'm just gonna go to the build data. I'm gonna manually, there is a clean, actually I'll just do that. Oh, clean. Let's build texture C first. So it's building them all again. I should be able to, antique great is not sticking to the convention. Everything else seemed fine. So antique great. Okay. Well, I don't even know what happened then. No, that's correct, but this is an underscore afterwards. Underscore AO. Underscore height. Underscore metallic. Underscore normal. I mean, I should have probably done this before the stream. Maybe it's not very interesting to watch me renaming files. Underscore roughness. Okay, so now we build these again, and oh, hold on, I need to clean. I'm cleaning because otherwise I'm just going to have stale files in there. And this one, this metal grid 2 underscore albedo, I already had that in the repo, and I've had that from ages ago, and it was from the same website, so I have used this before. It's just today I paid for it. It was $10. You can donate and you get a download of all of the textures, and it worked out to be, I think, about £8.45, which is pretty good value for money, and they're useful assets. So I'm happy to pay for that. But now I need to build everything, because when I cleaned, it would have also deleted the shaders, and it would have also deleted the fonts. And so, okay, well, I've got errors because these are my current things that I'm looking at, which is in here. So load material from directory. I'm just going to call this load material. It's going to be implicit that that's what it does. And this is going to return you a material. material resources. Okay, and in order to do that, well, we create a new material resources. Right, well, that's buff. Oh my god. Let I don't know how to do it. Get data path. So we get the data path and then we make a path buff from that, and then can you do iter? That's a path components. What I'm wondering is, I don't know how to do it. Rust enumerate directory. SDGFS read dir. Right, okay. Let paths equals stdfs read dir, and that's just that. So I don't think I need a path buff actually. Paths for path in paths. Right, so this is the thing that's annoying about initialization with Rust. I want to just, I'm going to have to create some local variables. Let albedo, is it going to be a texture or just a path? So I could do another thing I can do. Can I do paths? Iter filter. That's the path. A P. What is P? It's an read dir. What is a read dir? Another thing, right? It's not just a read dir. Oh, it's a result. Sorry. Right. Well. Gonna just unwrap. Unwrap. Path. Right, read dir. Isn't iter? What is a read dir? You would think. It has an iter. do glob. Path unwrap. This is what you do. Right, does it path iter? Into iter. So this is, here we go. P contains, do we have ends with? No. And we know it's always going to be underscore normal dot. Right. So we go let, just testing this actually. Normal, we collect a vec of a result of a dir. So we have to unwrap. Oh my god. A dir entry we have to unwrap already. It's just, you know, no wonder I don't want to use this stupid API. It's just, you know, all of the path stuff, there's too many unwraps, there's too much to think about. I really, really don't like it. Just want some strings, mate. It contains, there's a vec of result of dir entry. Filter, and it needs to dot map. Contains dot map. Oh. I don't think that contains is correct. This is not fun. Hold up. Let's see. This is, I can get rid of this. Right, we can do that. Num elements. We'll just do the same. Because I can just say material buff. Just want to get to this point where it actually is compiling, or not compiling, but right. Okay, so we don't have an unwrap on a dir entry, but it does have a file unwrap file name. And what's that? It's going to be some path thing. An OS string. Another kind of different string. And that doesn't have a contains function either. What do we have to do then? To ASCII. Is ASCII is empty to owned. Well, so at the moment I know to ASCII it's a UTF-8, no. To ASCII. What a horrible mess. I just want to read some strings, mate. What are you doing to me? This is horrendous. I don't know if there's anywhere else I'm doing any directory iteration. And at this point, I might make my own directory or my own path library that's just nice and simple to use. So I find one of the best things for doing path manipulation is Python's really good at it. And there's a library called PyString, which is for C++, actually developed by Sony ImageWorks, I believe, and it's on GitHub. And I was using that at work, and it's quite nice. So, you know, if you don't mind using std string, but it uses std string, and you just pass around strings, and it can do joins and all of that. And you know, it doesn't throw exceptions, I don't think, and you know, it's just nice to use. Not like this. Right, so to ASCII lowercase. Like, when this is a file name, how do I get? Oh, maybe can I do to stir? To stir to string lossy? Oh my god. This is, look at this. Disgusting. Disgusting. Contains underscore normal. Right? That's my little convention. I'm going to look in the files and I filter them. And then I need to do the same thing. I filter it and I also then make a thing. Oh, a cow stir. What is a cow stir? And it's not. So that's not a. That's a cow. A cow to string lossy. And then what does this? Then can we go to? Ooh, that one has ends with. So we could do this. Ends with. And right, let maps should we do that? Yeah, because I don't want to have to write this code again. For map in maps or map in maps. That's actually a bit confusing, but ends with .map. And we know they're DDS, and in this case, they are going to be DDS, but let's see. For map in map. Not. And then I need to put it in a vector. Oh, this is not turning into be a fun exercise. Right. What is this complaining for? That's not a material resource. Okay, but that's working. Well, that shouldn't be working. This cow stir. I don't know how do I get it into a type that I can actually use. So now I've run out of things to call it. Oh my, right. What's this? Like map path, right? This is the path to a map file. Map in maps, map path. And we can go if len is it's not empty, right? If it's not empty, the vector, we know we're just going to try and go image, right? Load texture from file. We need to pass in a device into here, right? Why is it put the cursor there? Device, an device, which is a GFX platform device. So now we pass in the device and we pass in that. And that can be, this needs to be mutable. Unmut, and that can be passed in here as, I know it already is unmut, right? Right. And we can go let mut textures equals vec new, right? Textures. And we say albedo is first. And we say normal. And then we say roughness. That's the only ones we're doing for now. I mean, for the time being, just albedo would have done, but sometimes it's handy to do but I think you can do that, and it's type deduction. So that's a cow stir. Map path is a vec, is empty. So now I've just got to figure out how to turn a cow stir into an unstir. Maybe if I just pass it as a reference, can it do it? No, of course it can't. Of course it can't. Don't be stupid. Can a cow stir become just a regular? What does it become? To owned, to vec. Join. Right. Albedo. So I mean and then we know these are convention and basically roughness. We know that's convention. Now when it gets to metalness, we can make the metalness texture optional. That's that. Right, so we're almost there. What is this stupid thing? Oh no, I just clicked on Visual Studio by accident. Go away. Go away. Go away. I am doing it here. And to string lossy. No. String lossy to string. That's a path buff. I mean, how many different kinds of strings do you need? It's insane. It's quite frankly, it's insane. And I have seen these before, these cow stirs. I'm gonna have to search for it. So we can pass it as, I'll have a read up of this, of what is the cow. So it has as ref. No. This is annoying now. Dot borrow. No. Ah. Map path 0. Right, that was what someone suggested as ref. Oh, my lord, right. So this now, what's this? Borrow checker. No. Right, this is a disaster, really. Path. Use of moved value path. Where's it been moved? Can I take a reference to this? Oh, for God's sake. This is excruciating. So does it have a ref iter? Can it move? So P. Oh my God, this is. Paths is moved. Right, so it makes me just want to quit Ross, this kind of thing. Just, it's trivial, right? I'm trying to just find some files which end with a thing. And look at this. I've not been this annoyed for a while about anything. This is really annoying me. So P as ref. Can this be a reference in the iter? Is there like a ref iter? Into iter takes ownership of the receiver self. Well, for starters, I could do this, which is annoying, but that's got rid of one thing at least. And then cannot move it out. P dot as ref unwrap. So instead as ref. As ref unwrap. And here, no error handling. I'm just assuming this is gonna be good. Oh my lord. Now that one's fixed. And then this one, temporary value, P as ref. And so here we want a cow stir to owned. Come on. Oh my lord. That's the same now. I know what to do. Can we do this? String. This is, I know there's like better ways to do this stuff, but right, okay. And then this one, I can now do this. Right, pass that in. Oh, right. Remove 0, remove 1, remove 2. Load from file. Right, that was an ordeal. I like look at the state of this. I think that's something that would like, you know, I'm trying to use these things or, you know, these filter maps, and just sometimes an imperative style loop is just much nicer. Right, but now that function can be tidied up in the future, and at least for now I can call load material, and I've got my material names. Angled tiled floor. I'm grabbing these strings. Right, I was getting a bit frustrated about this string handling stuff, but it is a mess, and it's I'll have a bit more of an investigate into exactly the problem, like why we need cows. Antique grate, cracking paint, cracking paint from it. I'm just largely talking to myself here at this point, so you know, literally the ramblings of a madman. But you know, for my few YouTube viewers and Twitch stream viewers, one person. But we've got angled tiled floor. So now if I pass in load material, it's looking in there, get data path, dir. I feel like I can pass in that. So my dir is going to be full. I'm going to pass that in. So the dir, the data path, load material, hotline, rs, get data path, and this is textures, tbr, and there, look, just a normal string. That's all you need. Sometimes, you know, none of these cows, none of these whatever different kind of strings, path buffs. What's your problem? Is that all right? So what's the problem with this? I expected a device. Well, we need a device. How many? So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And each of these need a mutable device, which we should have, and a data path, which that's a string, so it constructs me a string. This is actually an n. Okay, let's replace these. Antique grey, cracking paint grommet, and dirty padded leather. Green ceramic tiles. Office carpet fabric. Rusting lined metal. Simple basket weave. Stone block wall. Worn painted cement. Come on. Right. That is materials. So this should compile now. Oh, hold on. No. So, I mean, I don't think it's compiling. I'm going to have to terminate that. I think, the graphics engine part is actually easy. The hard part is Rust. It's sometimes those this angled tiled floor albedo dot dds. Well, we need to join it to the path. Look at it. Horrific. And the way I've been doing that is format. I'm tired now. I haven't even got that far. It feels like this is taking forever to do stuff. That becomes an right, so now we did manage to find the albedo, but so that means, oh, did we find that? Also, I'm not sure where this is actually being printed out from. Load from file. Ah, there it is. Path display. I'm going to make that a bit clearer of what it is. Hotline. Right, image. Loading. No, we'll keep that. So we actually do load 3. And this could be something like this could be a result. Material result. And then that can be okay. If textures len is not equal to 3, this is an error of type super error. No, it's not a super error, it's hotline RS error. Hotline RS error. Message. Actually been error. Material. That's not can. I've got to make that a string, and I've been meaning to make that a. Yeah, another thing I didn't know about was static unstirs, which is what it could be for a literal, and then that kind of cleans up a bit of stuff, but I'll do that another time. And oh no, this needs to be a format because I want to do this, and I'm going to put some little quotes around that. And I'm going to press in dir, and that's already makes a string, I believe, so we don't need to do that. Got a sore back and a sore neck. This is making me stressed. Textures PBR office carpet fabric. Is it badly named? Office carpet fabric 1. And that means one of these is erroring, but this is our results are being passed through. So Simple basket weave. Huh. That was weird. I don't know how. Oh no. Is this another? I'm gonna have to sweep through these again. I know. Simple basket weave. Yes. Right, I'm gonna have to rename these now. So simple basket weave 1, or the thing's called simple basket weave, and inside its folder. Well, actually, that might. Oh no. Yeah, that might not matter actually. Right, it's not crashing. And in terms of these, let's see. I'm gonna have to unwrap all of these, and then I'll get the error. The error handling inside the image library is not great. That it doesn't really, it says it cannot find the specified file. And let's see then. PBR angle tiled floor underscore albedo underscore normal and underscored roughness. Huh. Angled tiled floor. Can't see anything wrong with that. Is that the first one? And then I'm going to put in brackets textures len. Format and maps. Huh, hang on. Oh, well, that's silly of me. They're all doing that. Textures needs to be pushing these on. And there's that. Just ignore all this nonsense. Horrible stuff. Okay. Now we unwrap them all, and that's all fine. And another thing I've started to do is just ignore the correct slash there. Like, you can pass forward slash to Windows and it doesn't care. So the inconvenience of having to handle backslashes, forward slashes is off the charts. I've mentioned it before, but the collective time humanity must have spent fixing those bugs and handling those cases, it's an effort. Right. Okay. Anyway, we're good. We're good. Here we go. We've got materials. We've got a bunch of material resources. And so what I want to do is I'm going to spawn for material in materials. I'm spawning spawn a material, and that's just a little container to hold on to. After this, I do need to start thinking about cleaning up memory. And also here, we're loading these again. They're already loaded. I think that textures need to go and live and be stored somewhere else. But for the time being, that's okay. So let's see. We've spawned material. We've made a buffer of material data. But the number of elements in here is actually going to be materials.len. So that's the number of elements of material data. And this doesn't have to actually be updated once it's been put onto the GPU. We just need an array of material data, which is going to be the same length for material in materials. And then we can do let material data new and let mut material data. So material data, I'm going to push one on for each. See, I could do a collect and all of that, but I've just decided in this very moment I don't like that stuff. I'm just going to do normal loop because they're fine. And they're fine. Material data push. Material data. And what does the material data require? An albedo ID, a normal ID, a roughness ID. Albedo is going to be material dot albedo dot get SRV index. Albedo, normal, roughness, padding can be 0. Normal ID, roughness ID, normal, roughness. Okay, here we go. Material data, that is yet more unwrapped. This is an unwrap. I mean, these should be, we know they exist, we're doing them. I still fall in the thing of, oh, and now it needs to be converted to a U32. I don't think we can have that many heap resources that fall outside. And this needs to be a reference to materials, otherwise it's moved. We load it again. We update the material buff, world buffers, material buff. Right. So here we go. Right, well, let's just quickly move. I'm going to move these materials to up here, meshes and materials. And because we have a material ID, well, we're just going to assign a random material ID as well. Which can be done by I had some other code. This RNG gen is giving a 0 to 1 float value. Let's see about test. Distributions, uniform. So we go from 0 to materials length. Is inclusive? New and new inclusive? No. So material distribution, material dist sample with the RNG. That's going to assign a random material ID to each entity. Come on. What's this? As a U32. We load a load of textures. Things like texture loading needs to go in a background thread and that sort of thing. And now we just need to make sure in the draw function, librs, so where we actually go, I think we might already be passing it through, but it's probably worth just checking. Render meshes, bindless material. World buffers, so we're not doing that. So we need to pass in the world buffers of the material, get SRV index. As U32. And we push. When we push, what do? When we make the entity buffer, what do? Batch bindless world matrix indices. Batch material instances. So we already put in the material ID. So at this point, we have our material buffers bound. We have our textures bound. So the moment of truth, really, this is coming together, just getting towards the end of my usual time. I usually 1 hour 45, 2 hours has been just coincidentally the amount of time I've been doing the streams for. That sort of coincides with the point when I'm too tired to keep talking. And right, where are we? PS mesh material. Let's see, we've got VS mesh material. So in here, we're sampling we have the entity ID. We can also sample material ID. Entity input IDs. Entity input IDs. We know it's the second ID, but I think, oh no, yeah, it makes sense. We know it's the second ID. I need another output where I can put the material ID. So I think at this point, does it make sense to sample? So that's the world matrix. And then material data. We could sample into the material buffer. We haven't got that yet. So we've got buffer. entity data, we've got struct material data. And this was actually uint albedo ID, uint normal ID, uint roughness ID, and uint padding. Right, that's at the moment how it looks. VS output. So well, I'm going to go with VS output material. So it's the same thing, but uint for, and this is going to have indices IDs. Now I don't know if I can have a uint text code for VS output materials, material data, entities, structured buffer, material data, materials, and then we've got VS output material. We need to VS mesh material, that's one. VS output material, VS output material, output dot IDs equals, well, material, oh no, just do this, get IDs, draw call, lookup, material lookup. So entity data, no, material data, mat equals materials. Material buffer ID, which the material buffer ID comes from draw constants material buffer. I think we'll do this, draw call lookup an entity ID, and just grouping these. Material lookup, material buffer ID, so that's the buffer index we want to look into. Then we have material ID, which is the ID of the actual material, and that's that. And then we can do uint for, and we base that on mat dot albedo ID, mat dot normal ID, mat dot roughness ID, and 0. So then my shader needs to take the input, needs to take that. It's quite a lot of stuff happening here, so let's just see if that's working. Oh, error, more than one unbounded resource, entities and materials in space. 0. I thought that was what these were doing. So let's have a look at the output. I think I go in here, debug JSON. No. Why won't you show it me? Debug.json. Material, mesh, material, instanced, bindless, bindings. Well, this is actually in the shader register. Register space. That's kind of weird that so these are all 0, 0, 0, 0. Unbounded. Error. More than one unbounded resource, entities, and materials in space 0. Ah. I think that's I see. Then potentially. No, because I'm using structured buffer T0 and that. That compiled. So I can put it into space 1. I don't know if that's correctly bound. But let's see. I mean, we know that that's this input IDs. So oh no, because it's a shader resource view. Right, screw it. I'm just gonna have to see the texture 2D. Always happens. Gets to the end, and now I'm tired. I'm still looking at this. I feel like I've been looking at this for ages. Texture coords. We're gonna read that. Input IDs. Dot 0. Okay. Oh, come on. What are you talking about? Oh, nope. Input IDs dash dot. Input IDs 0. Build failed. Reload complete. Crashing. Right. Present failed. This is gonna, well, it's crashed. GPU's been suspended. Maybe I'm not printing the error messages. Too much to think about. Debug build, debug console. Let's see what it's going to complain about. Okay, here's errors. Access denied. What is all of this? Hold on, I think that's something like, well, let's see. Did this work? Output color. Output color equals input color. I'm just going to see. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Right. That's okay. So the thing here is that now what I want to check is am I sampling the correct values, right? So to say if input ID is 0. So this is quite simply a check. I think what's going to be happening equals to some known value. Now I'm doing Rust style if statement. Right, I'm going to set this to 100. And if it is 100, then I'm going to set the color to yellow. Right? Is it gonna? Yep, are you doing that? No. Oh, hold on. That's compiled. Right, so if input ID is 0 equals to 100, and let's see what's happening. I need to do hot reloading. So, come on. No. Tests, draw. Right, in draw, so what we do is, essentially it's this. I'm going to use the padding, right? And that's going to be set to 100, right? I'm going to set padding to 100 and I'm going to use padding. And that's going to be IDs for padding. And that padding, I'm going to forward through mat padding. So I think the thing is, I'm pretty sure now, actually, I'm not binding the heap. Oh, that's fine. That's good. Good catch. Good catch. Good catch. This isn't going to work, right? I don't expect it to work, actually, foolishly. Right, so it's not doing that. if I check out debug.json, is that debug.json? Where's debug.json? Debug.json. Okay. I need to bind, and I believe you can bind the same heap twice, or I might need a new heap. Okay, yeah, so what I didn't do, this, bindless material, okay? So slot, register 0 space 1, shader resource, and we bind that on the slot. T0 space 0, T0 space 1. Cargo check, go away. It's crashed. Crashed, no error. I'm knackered. I'm knackered now, and it's not even working. Come on. Right, set render heap. This is not working correctly. Lot 3. Is it giving me an error? Debug console. Root parameter 3 is out of bounds. Okay, so I'm almost, well, no, I don't know if I am almost there. I'm going to try and bind it on T1, just on T1 instead. The material buffer on T1. Root parameter index 3 is out of bounds. It declares 3. So that had incorrectly worked out my code that I made the other day. Incorrectly worked out the slot to bind the shader resource on. Let's see. Register space descriptor type. So this one goes on slot 2, and that's the textures. And then this one goes on, no, that must be on slot 1 then, and slot 2, and there's one set of push constants. Ooh, actually, maybe that register space thing doesn't work how I intended it. More than one unbounded resource, entities and materials in space 0. Is this? I don't know if this is a D3D error or like the DirectX shader compiler, or it's one of my own errors. So just got to quickly check in here. Well, let's see. No. Unbounded resource. Right. So I can't even bind it onto T1. So it needs to go on space T0 space 1. Right. Right, that's gone yellow. That's gone yellow. So that means that is 100. It's being sampled. It's being sampled correctly. Come on. Right, so now I want textures in there. Can textures be in here? I just want to use textures. Let's just, if I do that, I'm touching them. Touching textures, it's going to crash. Oh, GPU device has been suspended. GPU device has been suspended. That's the story of my life. Right. Okay. Look at this. Look at the state of this. Stop opening that. It's really annoying. Just massive windows. Okay. First thing that it starts to... Right, okay. So the actual problem there is... It's not... I'm not even sampling from a texture. Right? So do they need to go in different spaces? The device has been... Access is denied. The problem is here, let's say D3D. Okay. That puts me right back to the bottom. It's removing device and device is hung. Okay. So even bringing in a texture into the shader, I'm not even sampling from it. So I'm not sampling out of bounds, but including the texture in there is problematic. Let's compile the shader and see if there is any warnings or problems. They're up to date, and let's take that out. Okay. So I think possibly, do I need to put... I'm just gonna maybe make a new alias. Textures, debug. And that's going to be T0 space 2, right? Textures debug. And I'm just going to bring that into the shader. Right, that's up to date. Come on. Right, textures debug doesn't crash it. But I think that output color is going to equal to albedo. Come on. Attempt to add with overflow. Ah. Interesting. Well. Right, so now it's sampling a texture as black. It's not crashing. This is perfect. Come on, I'm almost there. I've almost got it, I think. And the register space thing makes a little bit more sense now. So T0 space 1. Oh, hold on. What was my shaders? Okay, T0 space 2. So the same heap gets banged onto Oh, this is weird. Ah, hold on. I think this might be the wrong way around. Register space hash. Hashing. Well, let's see. I think maybe they're equivalent, but I don't know actually. The yellow was working. No. Now the problem is 001020. I'm just going to do something like print ln. Let's print. What's a slot? Slot dot slot. Slot dot slot dot slot dot slot. Okay. It's not working, but it's weird that the other thing was working. Oh my god. I think it might be time to call it a day soon. I'm tired. It's not working. I'm a bit annoyed. But here we are coming in. We were coming into there, right? Right? So we're managing to get input IDs 0. Okay. We're getting those. And we're not binding those. So we're binding it once. We bind one set of buffers. And we're using them. I'm not sure about how this works. Okay, here's a little idea. Map padding. And let's just do 101. Make sure it's some weird. Why is it crashing? Why is it crashing? I'm doing a simple. That's weird. It was the error was 101. Well, this is strange. So mat.padding. You're kidding me. This is insane. Right. Not very enjoyable. Draw data. This is bizarre. Ah, well, actually, let's take them out. We're not sampling from that anymore. Oh my god. Bindless hell. Right. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. I'm back. Okay. Right, so input IDs isn't correct. That's because we're passing mat padding -1. And then if we do this, that does become correct. So mat padding, we are binding correctly. So when you bind to T0, we can have a different space. Our problem starts when trying to start sampling from textures. If I bring in textures debug into here, that it's fine. So that means textures debug are at least in the compiled shader, and that brings that into an incorrect. So now we feel unstable. I mean, the problem is now, even if I run a debug build, it's not, I'm just not getting any useful info. Oh, right, that's okay. Yellow is expected. Oh no, yellow's not expected. Or is it? If it's 101. No, D3D crash. The device took an unreasonable amount of time. I wonder, these heaps, it was weird. Like, I'm sampling. Oh my god, I'm all over the place. What was it called? Mat padding. Right. So sampling the material buffer, and it was retrieving a value, although I didn't explicitly bind the heap onto that lot. Okay, I wonder if moving, oh no. Entity data. I think it's about time to call it a day, and I'm going to have to think about this in the meantime. The only things I think I might try and do quickly is bind the heap onto. Right, okay, so wasn't actually binding the heap before correctly, but then this gave me a D3D error. If I try and bind onto slot 01. Oh. Interesting. Space 0 and space 1. Oh, yeah. Just gonna feed my cat. Come on, mate. Let's go. Let's go eat some food. Right. So now let's get rid of them. Gutting. I thought it was close. It's been a frustrating old time. I'm going to call it a day there. I'll have a kind of a bit of a think about this and a debug and hopefully a bit of a break and come back with fresh eyes and then get the problem sorted. So that's it for now.